Vandy could have some decisions to make regarding the quarterback position next season. What's it going to look like?
You are Locked On Vandy, your daily podcast on the Vanderbilt Commodores. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into the Locked On Vandy podcast on the Locked On Podcast Network. I'm your host, Corey Burton. Thanks for making Locked On Vandy your first listen each and every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast and on YouTube as a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. So, as Clark Lea and staff decide to take time during the bye week to evaluate the roster, make some crucial decisions will be made regarding what to look for in the portal versus high school recruiting, all that stuff. One of those decisions is the quarterback position. Diego Pavia has made a motion for a temporary restraining order. That was denied. He wanted to buy some more time as far as buying another year of eligibility. So what's next? Okay. And here's the thing with Pavia's lawsuit. Okay. And this is the update. Again, the restraining order was denied according to court documents. This is in an article on Vandy 247. But Pavia sued the NCAA last week. He wanted entitlement to an extra season of eligibility. U.S. District Judge William Campbell ruled that his temporary restraining order, which was going to buy him some time, does not mean that Pavia has lost the case. It just means that NCAA will have a chance to respond and a hearing will take place. That's all quoted from this article written by Robbie Weinstein of Vandy 247. He requested that a temporary restraining order. He thought that would ensure his 2025 season and his eligibility. And here's the catch. The transfer portal opens December 9th, and Vandy could be forced to make some decisions. Now, because of the denial of this temporary restraining order, this puts this case into the hands of the court now. They have to set a hearing, and as everything we know about courts, they're not fast, they're not expedient. They just kind of go with their own pace. So the NCAA is going to get a chance to respond and state their case and give, which I think ultimately is good if they do it in a timely manner. But usually these things, you just don't know. And his eligibility kind of hangs in the balance. Vandy's quarterback plans kind of hang in the balance because you obviously want him back for a second season. You want him back to have one more hurrah there because he's been so influential. He's been so impactful with this team. So that's kind of what you want. But they're going to have to make some decisions. They're going to have to decide because this transfer portal market goes quick, right? Especially at the quarterback position. All the you don't want to be in a situation to where I don't know what Nate Johnson provides. I don't know that they believe a whole lot in Nate Johnson. I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure where that stands. I'm not sure where these freshmen stand. I don't know what they want to do with the quarterback position. I think obviously they would like to have Pavia back for another season, have these freshmen learn and go from there. But you may not get that luxury, and you may be forced to make a decision with the quarterback position sooner than you want to. Like, do you just move on from Diego Pavia and assume that he's just not going to win this case or not going to win it in a timely manner to where he can come back? Is it going to be a case where this thing is heard quickly before the portal opens and you know whether to look or not, or like you have all these ideas are going to be kicked around because they're going to have to move quick, because if there's a quarterback out there that would fit into this system and make them instantly better, it's their responsibility to go make this team better, whether that's Diego Pavia or not. Like you can't be stuck waiting on the courts to decide something, and you have to take action. And I don't know what that means for Nate Johnson. I don't know if he's going to be in the portal. I don't know what evaluation process looks like for these quarterbacks. Blaze Berlowitz, Drew Dickey, Jackson Muschamp, St. Hilaire, Jeremiah St. Hilaire. I don't know what the decision process is like for these quarterbacks, but you have some decisions to make because you have a bunch of guys out there that you've looked at, you've evaluated that may or may not move on. You have some decisions to make within the portal to know, okay, well, this is what we need to do at the quarterback position. This court case could make a huge impact on that decision because, hey, if Dago Pavia comes back, well, Nate Johnson might look elsewhere. I certainly wouldn't blame him because he obviously wants a chance to play. And I don't think any quarterback wants to sit on the bench all the time. So if he has an opportunity to play somewhere, he's going to take it. And same with Drew Dickey, same with Blaze Berlowitz. Like you just gotta get into a situation to where, hey, I gotta, these quarterbacks also have to evaluate for themselves. Hey, is staying here in my best interest? Do I want to test the waters as well? Like how does this whole thing shake out? Because if you sit, I do know this though, okay, because it's such an unknown thing with the transfer portal. Like you almost have to have a group that recruits the roster. Like you have to have great relationships, and you just have to understand that you're going to lose some people every single year. It's just the nature of the beast. From Georgia on down to Bowling Green, like you're going to lose people, right? You're going to, guys are going to switch over. Guys are going to get into different situations, or guys are going to be elevated. Like, Van Buren at Mississippi State, like Mississippi State Jeff Lebby better do a great job of recruiting him again, because LSU might come calling, Texas A&M might come calling, Florida might come calling, like Florida State. Like there's somebody that's going to come after Van Buren because this is the Wild West. This is, so you've got to make some decisions. You've got to say, okay, well, hey, Marcel Reese, he might be back out on the market. He would be perfect in this Vandy offense. Gio Rodriguez down at or Gio Lopez, down at South Alabama. He would also be a really good fit in this Vandy offense. But you have to figure out what you want, and you've got to figure out what your plans are. So, and I think you've got to have different levels of plans. Like, hey, let's say, for example, Dago Pavia does not win this case. He's gone. Okay, is Nate Johnson your guy, or do you want to go get somebody, right? Or is Jack Elliott from the high school ranks, is he going to come into the system and develop behind the other guys and kind of get in the mix of the quarterbacks of Vandy's future? Like, what do you do? Do you continue to go the portal route? Do you develop the guys you have on your roster and shore up other positions through the portal? What do you do? And there's a lot of these roster decisions they're going to have to really, really, really go through. But the quarterback position really, I think, and it's a good problem to have. Like you're wondering if Dago Pavia is going to come back. Let's say he wins his case. Obviously, you welcome him back. He's a great leader, really good quarterback, really competitive, is a weapon. You have to bring him back for a second year, third year in the system, but second year on your roster, And if you bring him back, what does that mean for Nate Johnson? It probably means he's gone. I don't think Nate Johnson came to sit for 2 years. I think he understood once Pavia stepped foot on campus, hey, I'm probably going to sit for a year and learn, which is fine. But now what does that do to him? What does that do to Drew Dickey? Like that just makes things more muddy for Drew Dickey and Blaze Berlowitz, especially because you've got these talented freshmen that are now going to be entering their redshirt freshman year. You've got another freshman that's coming in with Elliott. So, you've got a pretty muddied quarterback situation, and I think Drew Dickey and Blaze Berlowitz can play. They should get some opportunity to make some runs somewhere, right? I could see one of them going to Western Kentucky and slinging it around. Like I could see them going into a G5 program, starting and having a really successful career. And I wouldn't blame them one bit. I would actually be happy for them. Anybody that transfers for the right reasons, I think you kind of have to be happy for them and supportive. But all of these dominoes rely on Dago Pavia's situation. Does he win his case? Does he win it in a timely manner? Does it force Vanderbilt to make a decision before it wants to or before he hears anything? Does it, what's going to happen with this? This is going to be an ongoing thing. When they set the date, that'll give them more concrete, hey, we got to have a decision made. We got to have a decision, and we got to have a plan A, B, and C, and you're probably going to end up going with plan D in that scenario. So you just got to see who's out there on the market. You got to just see what's happening with all that. And you got to be super aggressive. Hell, Tim Beck, you got to see if he's going to be around. Like his name is being tossed around a little bit. And he could be a commodity in the offseason as well. Like the coaching carousel could also jump up and grab a couple of these Vandy guys. You have a successful season, some guys looking to move up. Well, hey, you had a really successful season, kind of this option football scheme thing, or on defense side of the ball, Clark Lea is a good defense coordinator to learn under. Like, okay, hey, we're over here at Buffalo, and we're going to give you an opportunity to be our defensive coordinator because, hey, you learned under Clark Lea. We trust your judgment. Hey, you did a little bit at New Mexico. We're going to give you that shot. So there's a lot of dominoes that are going to fall here. It's just the fact that, going back to Diego Pavia, what's going to happen there? Is he going, where's Vandy leaning? What are their plans? Does he feel good about getting this extra year of eligibility? How does that, how does Vandy, what's the confidence level in that from Vandy's perspective? Hey, are we pretty sure he's coming back or going to be able to come back? Does Diego Pavia pretty sure he's going to be able to come back? All that's going to unfold fairly quickly. The temporary restraining order was supposed to buy some time on that to where he was going to be granted that, where they couldn't deny. But again, it's all over eligibility and NIL potential and all that stuff. So, but some more roster decisions, some more bye week goals, big time bye week goals for the second bye week, especially this close to the end of the season. Not only are you getting ready for LSU, but you're also doing some things as well, evaluating the roster. But we'll talk about that more next. All right, this episode is presented by Gametime. That's right. Gametime has a new feature called Gametime Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. Gametime Picks filters out the fluff to show you only the incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. The Gametime Picks curation is really what makes it easy to save more on sports or concerts or comedy or theater. Because think about this. You're going to see a Nate Bargatze show, and do you want to sift through every single seat to see if you can find a good deal? I didn't think so. So if you head over to Gametime, it just, boom, pops it up right there. Here's the best deals. And you just kind of pick, right? And then you can also, all in pricing, you can see exactly what you're going to pay up front. So there's no surprise fees when you click checkout. Seat views, you can get a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy. So let's say he's playing the Ryman. You can look at where you're going to sit and you can see your view of the stage. Are you happy with it? Yes. Click buy. Are you not? Okay, I'm going to try a different seat. I'm going to try a different place. That's the beautiful thing about that. Also, Gametime has the lowest price guarantee, or Gametime themselves will credit you 110% of the difference. Gametime ticket coverage is the best in the world. It's covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime Picks. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONCollege. It's LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download Gametime today. What time is it? Gametime. All right. Thanks for making Locked On Vandy your first listen each and every day. If you need a second listen, go check out Locked On SEC. SEC Squad drops every Thursday. Also, Chris Gordy does a phenomenal job outside of that, covering the SEC and covering all angles of it. This is a pretty crazy season for him to cover. It's pretty interesting. So there's a lot of different things to talk about. So check him out. Also, Locked On Ole Miss, Stephen Willis. That guy's having fun right now. They just beat Georgia. They didn't just beat Georgia. They dominated Georgia, right? So he's having a lot of fun there. So go check out his show as well. He does a phenomenal job. I think he's up to like 120 million subscribers, something like that. Guy is just astronomical with his subscribers and his reach and all that stuff, man. That guy's incredible. So Stephen Willis, Locked On Ole Miss. Check that out after this. Anyway, bye week goals. We're talking goals, man. This team is looking to improve, put one foot in front of the other. And I think part of that is you have to evaluate things, right? In the bye week, you have to evaluate how you're doing things operationally. How do you do things logistically during the week and on game day? With the transfer portal, like the constant evaluation of the roster has to take place. So you're gonna have to kind of map out, okay, what are we going to need? How are we going to address these needs? Where can we address it through high school, and where can we address it through the transfer portal? And that's kind of those are kind of some of the goals that you have to have with roster evaluation. And now you're starting to see teams get full staffs devoted to this roster, like the scouting department. In the NFL, you have a college scouting department that's akin to high school recruiting. And then you have a pro scouting department, which is akin to, I guess, transfer portal, other team scouting, stuff like that. The team of analysts versus the team of like player scouts that are, the direct pro scouting is scouring the free agent market, the waiver wire, the transactions. Hey, so-and-so got cut. Do we want him or not? Right. So you have to, when you evaluate the roster, it's a really long process, right? You have to figure out, and you have to have guys that have a really good pulse of the team too. Like the part of it is like, okay, who's disgruntled? Who are we going to lose? Right. And you have different levels of that. Like you're like, okay, A, B, and C, they're out the door no matter what. They play linebacker, left guard, and wide receiver. They are out the door, right? I'm just talking general right now. There's no specific names or rumors, so don't go running off with that. But all right, so you have a list of guys that, hey, there's no chance. There's no chance that we want them. It's just not working out here. They're gone. Bye. Right? Then there's guys that are like, they probably could explore. We would like to have them. They're probably going to explore. We have a chance to keep them for depth if we want to, but if they get a good enough opportunity, they're probably gone. Like there's that level. And then there's guys that are like, hey, this guy's on the fence. He doesn't really know. We can swing him. And then there's obviously the solids, right? And then so when you look at that and you're okay, you got these guys that are looking to go, then you got, okay, we're going to lose this guy, and this guy because they're out of eligibility. So like, how do we want to fill this position? And a lot of it is you kind of have to keep your ear to the street around the country too. And it's a vast, vast league to do. So you got to figure out, okay, well, last year you had a really good run of offensive linemen in the portal. So you've got to kind of get a beat on that. Okay, Vandy, I can tell you right now, is going to need offensive linemen. Everyone needs offensive linemen, right? So that's nothing special. But I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt, they're going to need offensive linemen. They're going to need guys that can come in. They got a pretty good haul last year of guys, but they're going to need that again. And they can't just address that through high school recruiting. They're going to have to, they're going to sign a few people through high school, but you need those portal guys to come in and bolster this offensive line group. So that's going to be something you address. And you'll be like, okay, well, where's our ratio? Donovan Starr is somebody that I think could come in and be special along the offensive line. Shivers, Steven Shivers from Brentwood Academy again is another one. I think that could come in and add some depth to the offensive line. So maybe you don't have to go as hard. Maybe you look for interior guys versus getting your perimeter guys from high school. You just got to kind of, I think for that, finding good veteran offensive linemen is a tough thing to do. So I think you have to, with offensive line, you have to have a good balance, and you have to develop these guys, right? And you have to figure out, okay, well, where's the balance of, okay, we've got some good veteran guys already on board. We've got some good high school guys in the pipeline that are developing. So we add a portal piece here, portal piece there. And next thing you know, our offensive line is set pretty good. You need 3 units of guys. You need a developmental unit, and you need a second unit that is good, that can finish a game. And then 3 of those guys need to be first unit rotational guys. So the second unit's got to be comprised of at least 3 rotational guys with 2 developmental guys that can provide enough talent to give you a little bit of depth if they need to go in. And then you have your third developmental line that's just like should be all freshmen and down the line guys. So, you got to figure out there. One of the positions of need I think is also going to be cornerback. You got a good chunk of guys from that. Marlon Jones is set to join the team or rejoin the team in January after going through some treatments and stuff with his cancer. So that's going to be a breath of fresh air, but you still have to go out and recruit some cornerbacks. Vanderbilt has been thin at that position, and they've given up some deep shots. They've given up some things in the passing game, and they just don't have enough depth there. And so you get guys from high school, you get guys from the portal, but I know that position is going to be evaluated and going to be, I think that's going to be some targets within the transfer portal to see, okay, how many corners can we get in from the portal? So you have to find, what you need there. Linebackers, I think Langston Patterson, I think is due to be gone. But I think you're going to need some linebackers, some inside linebackers, because I just don't think you have enough. Really, truthfully, you could cut the bottom half of your roster and backfill it with 20 something guys or 22 guys, like one for each position offensively and defensively to kind of back build that roster. Sprinkle in some high school guys in there, and then next thing you know, you've got a roster that's full. You're going to lose 30 something guys, close to 40 guys between graduation, eligibility running out, and transfer portal guys. Like, you're going to lose it. Like, every team, I feel like every team, instead of losing 22 to 25 guys, you lose 40, right? Rosters just jumble up. It just seems like you have a line of demarcation on every roster, and just the bottom half just falls out, and you just replace it. It's starting to turn into fantasy football, honestly. It's kind of crazy. But, we'll talk more about that here and what they're looking like. LeBron Hill, we talked about him in yesterday's episode. He's going to be a hell of a guy to throw in the mix at the wide receiver position. That's going to see some shakeup too. We'll talk about it. Hey, NFL fans, college football fans in general, basketball fans. Hey, guess what? You get ready to tackle all of that action, especially NFL action, with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. I'm going to make some picks later on this week. Hopefully, those win too. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. You can bet other stuff too, really. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. So just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Okay, wrapping up the show here. Locked on Vandy. Thanks for making us your first listen. Thank you for making me your first listen every day. And thanks to you 504 people that have subscribed. I appreciate you. Make sure you keep listening, keep coming back, and bring a friend with you every time. Somebody that, hey, they may not be totally into, like, I'll even take, I'll obviously take the hardcore Vandy fans, but I'll even take some of the ones that are like, hey, you know what? I'm going to subscribe because I think this content is worthy of it. And anytime my team, insert team name here, right? Anytime my team plays Vanderbilt, I'll already be subscribed, and I can just come to Corey and Locked on Vandy and hear the breakdown of that game. And I know he's going to give me a fair shot at it, right? South Carolina fans didn't think so. They called me a homer, which was hilarious because, the Locked on Vandy podcast, it's in the name. Like, of course I'm going to talk good about Vanderbilt. Like why wouldn't I? Right. I'm not going to come on here and say, yeah, South Carolina, they're going to kick our ass, right? I'm not going to come on here and say that, right? I'm going to give you every reason I think that Vandy has a chance to win, right? And then react when they don't, or if they don't, right? It's not, I'm going to be realistic to a certain point. Like, hey, Vandy's going to struggle here, here, and here, but I still think they win the game because X, Y, Z. All of that's true. Everything I said about South Carolina was true. I said that they may struggle with the scheme, but they have guys athletic enough that can make up for that and erase those mistakes. Vandy, if they don't get tired, which they did get tired. South Carolina pounced. What do you want me to say? This is exactly what happened. So I thought that was funny, but keep it coming. Keep it coming in the comments. I love it, man. As we wrap here, I think it's just, you have to just kind of look at, okay, well, another avenue for Vandy, I think this would be perfect. And they did this with Marlon Jones. They looked at the FCS level and they said, okay, who are our top performers in the FCS? Right. And they looked at those top performers and they're like, okay, well, we can give you an SEC shot, see what you're made of. Right. Does it work? Who knows? But you need to look at, okay, who's performing well. Okay, well, North Dakota State's always going to have some guys. South Dakota, the Missouri Valley Conference, if you can pull from that, it's actually a really good conference. So I think Harding Harper and his crew, let's say he's director of scouting, they're going to have a hell of a task. They're going to need to say, okay, who are the standouts? Who's available? And then every time somebody declares for the portal, they need to be refreshing that list. Okay, all right, here, Coach Lee, Coach Beck, Coach Kill, all the coaches, any coach, Coach Langford, Coach, whoever. Here's a list of guys. These are the guys that have already declared. These are guys who have already entered their paperwork. These are guys we can legally talk to. Okay, evaluate these guys. Is it worth it based on what we have and based on what's there? I don't know who's in the portal. I don't have access to that list. And I don't really know that, I'd have to read every single board of every single team to know who's even thinking about getting in the portal or who they think is going to be in the portal. I can't predict all that. It's a lot to predict. So you just have to kind of speculate. And then when the portal does come out, hey, here's some top targets. Well, hey, this, Central Michigan had a really good offensive line. They're really good at running the ball. Okay, well, hey, they ran the ball well because their right guard was just plowing through people. Well, hey, that guy needs to play at Vanderbilt. He's in the portal. He needs to play at Vanderbilt, right? Like stuff like that. Like you've got to be on top of that. I don't really know if that's not really the case. I don't know if he's in the portal. I don't even know if their right guard is any good at Central Michigan. I just know they're pretty good at running the football. They're playing tonight, actually. So this is going to be a situation to where they're going to have to really, really be organized. I think now that they've got people in place versus I thought they had a late jump on it last year and they did really well for having such a late jump. But I think now that they've been evaluating this whole time, they've been kind of scouring the roster. They've been kind of, I think they've got the staff in place to A, keep more guys that are on the fence, and B, evaluate the portal, have a plan, and be able to execute that plan a lot sooner. That way you can start to land some of these bigger fish because guess what? Vanderbilt is going to be an NIL. They're going to be a player in the NIL game if they want to be. They can be if they want to be. That's going to be the key because there's a lot of potential here in Nashville. Nashville is starving for a really good team, right? Nashville wants to get behind Vandy. There's a lot of UT fans here. So that's also another thing. But I think the people who aren't UT fans or aren't like Alabama grads or whatever, they want and I think even deep down, except for the UT fans, I think deep down, people just want Vanderbilt to be good because it's good for the city. The Titans aren't any good right now. They need this city needs somebody to get behind. And I think if Vandy can be good, the city can get behind them with resources and NIL opportunity and kick in. Next thing you know, Vanderbilt's good. They're a viable team in the league. They're a viable team in the SEC. And now you've got parity. This is how parity is built in this age. transfer portal and NIL. Vandy has a lot to offer in those regards. You've seen proof is in the pudding now with what they have offensively and defensively, scheme-wise. It's there. So I think it's going to be a lot more successful transfer portal season, truthfully. But they've got to, this week, they've got to evaluate their roster. They've got to figure out what the heck's going on with Diego Pavia and make a decision on that before it opens on December 9th. And then they've got to figure out, okay, well, we don't get this guy in the portal. That's okay. We've got these high schoolers lined up, and they're going to come in and really bolster that. And we'll look elsewhere in the portal, and we'll see what pops up. So it's going to be fun, man. It's going to be a lot of fun. This offseason is going to be way, way smoother, I believe, at this moment. Way smoother than last. So that's good news as well. But anyway, that's all I got for you tonight, today, this evening, this afternoon, whenever you're listening. That's all I got for you. Make sure you behave yourselves, of course. If you're going to watch some Vandy basketball here in the near future, be good. Root on Mark Byington and his crew, all the point guards there. The point guards really need your support. I don't know about the other positions, but the point guards really need you to be loud and really need to create a good atmosphere at Memorial Gym, because those point guards are incredible. Every single point guard on the roster is amazing. I love the point guards. It's my favorite position that Vandy has. I think that's where we excel, is at the point guard. So take care. Anchor down. We'll see you back here next time. Peace.